Okay, we're here at the Trex University. Shawn, our synthetic category rep, is going to run through because it's confusing. There's a lot of different colors, a lot of different products. So Shawn, can you explain to me and the audience what's new in the Trex line this year and how do we go through the different lines? I know it starts with the least expensive and goes up to the high end, but can you give us a rundown? Because we're going from a 25-year warranty to a 50-year warranty. When you're looking at the whole line, it's a little confusing. Like, how would I select what's best for me besides color and what's new?
You know, this year they added in their enhanced line, both in their basics and their natural, they brought in two new colors. They brought in a gray and they brought in a brown, a light brown, that both have heat mitigation technology, which is really unique at this price point in this line.
So if you're around the pool, you're worried about how hot is it going to get in the sun. That's something, see a lot of questions coming up. And I'd say generally it's the lighter colors that are going to be better at that heat mitigation?
It is. And then they add a UV inhibitor into these as well, so it does reflect the heat back out of it. So they're even a little bit better than even a light color in these two particular colors.
Okay, so down here in the enhanced, we got a 25-year product, and then we run up a 35 and a 50-year. Walk me through if we want to spend a little bit more money, it's a little bit more higher end project. We get away from the enhanced, we get up to a Trex Select. It bounces from a 25-year to a 35-year warranty. Is there anything other reason I would decide on going Select other than just warranty? Anything different on the grain or the color choice, or why would I bump up to a Select?
When you move into the Select, you move away from the scalloped bottom board. You get a full solid board on all the way around. It's a solid board.
This is a scallop back. It looks like you drew your fingers in the mud. That's what you see at the big box stores, kind of the entry-level Trex. Then we bump up to the solid back board. There's a more high-end for some of the nicer decks. And that's something that you can't just get off the shelf at a big box store. Usually that's a special order. You go to advantagelumber.com, hit the button. That's something we ship right to you. So that's pretty much where we see most of our decks coming from the Select and up, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. Move in, and once you move past the Trex Select, you can see it's a pretty solid based color. You don't get a lot of variation. Once you move up one more and into the 50-year line, now all of a sudden you're starting to see some nice color variation. You're seeing some streaking, some better traction.
Less slip resistance, right?
Exactly.
Or more slip resistance.
Yeah, you're getting better patterns and better grains. And then again, once we move into the Lineage line, now we're moving back into their sun comfortable technology, which is the heat reflection mitigation, which helps under your feet, keeps the puppy's toes cool.
So yeah, that's a good point. Not just kids, but the pets. That's something I worry about on the heat. Yeah. So if we get a little higher budget project, the Transcend line's all 50-year stuff. So if you're worried about, if you want to get the best for heat, we're going to go with the Transcend, and then we're also going in the cooler. Is there any other selection we want to do? We just pick a light color to get the coolest in the Transcend, or is there something in that line that we might want to think about special?
Well, you would probably want to move into the Lineage side if you're looking for the heat mitigation.
Okay, so we're going Trex Transcend and then Lineage because we're worried about heat.
Lineage, exactly.
Okay. So
it is a little confusing because it's all called Transcends, but they have their Tropics line, which is the original, and in the last few years they've come out with their Lineage line, which does add the heat mitigation, a little different texture, a little different traction. Both very good though, both very good.
So if I want the best creme de la creme of Trex, then I'm going to the Trex Transcend and then Lineage.
And Lineage.
Okay, so budget's not really my primary concern. It's what I want to get, what's going to work the best for heat mitigation, what's going to last me the longest. I'm going Trex Transcend, Lineage, and then something in there with their heat mitigation technology.
That's my choice. That's my choice. They do actually have one more line that they sell that's their premier line. It's the Signature line. They have two colors in their Signature line. This they do a photorealistic technology to. It doesn't have the heat mitigation technology to it, but they do have a photorealistic look to it. And this is their newest line, the Trex Signature. Also a 50-year warranty.
Okay, do we have more than just brown or gray, or it's limited to brown and gray?
Brown and gray.
Okay,
two
so
colors.
and so this is the very top then?
This is the very top. Actually, one of the most expensive lines in composite decking today.
All right, and this is something we've been pretty successful with because it's hard to find a lot of places you go to. So advantagelumber.com, look for the Signature line. It's just brown and gray, but that is the top of the line Trex you can get. And that's only been out for what, about a year?
2 years, about 2 years.
2 years? Okay, and that's also a 50-year product.
It is also a 50-year warranty, photorealistic finish, very beautiful product.
Okay, so if budget wasn't the primary concern, is this what you're putting on your house as far as a synthetic deck?
That's a tough question. I mean, it really comes down to what you're looking for. I lean more towards the heat mitigation. I live in the desert, so I look more for the cool technology. If you're looking for more realistic, more finished, then this is your line.
Okay, so your primary concern, living in the desert, you're getting beat on by the sun, you're thinking heat. But for 80% of the country, that heat is not their primary decision-making point, this may be the better option.
This is a great option.
Right, okay. Because you got your dog running around out there.
Exactly.
Like you could fry an egg some days on any product out there. So
Exactly.
that's the primary concern.
Primary concern in my area, but that's just where I live. Where you live might be totally different.
It's great we have so many options in Trex, but then the consumer is, how do I fasten this versus how do I fasten the Transcend or the Signature line? Is there anything different when it comes to fastening this? I might want to think about if I start from the basics, enhance all the way to the Signature, just same fastening method, or am I doing anything different?
It's one of the great things that the composite industry and Trex on a whole has done. It all comes with a hidden fastener. It all comes also with screws and plugs. So you actually have your option. You can install this either way. You can install it with a hidden clip that goes into the side of the deck. So you get
a certain clip you're using, or what do you use it on this?
The Trex Hideaway fastener.
Yeah, because your past life, you did thousands of decks,
We did
right?
a lot of decks in the past
and then
life.
you became Mr. Composite. You're doing like only composite. That's why you're our composite specialist. You're my go-to guy for composite questions. So I definitely take your word on composite considerations there. So, well, what's the biggest question you get about the Trex line when one of the other sales reps calls you and says, "Hey, composite guy, help me with this customer." What's the biggest thing they're coming to you for?
The biggest thing I really hear is the question you just asked me, fasteners. Which fastener goes with this deck, with this product, with this line? How do we get the right screw? How do we get the right fastener? We get that more than anything. We do get a lot of questions on colors. They've done a great job as you look through their line. They're all pretty much earth tone colors, grays, browns, a little bit of red. So really you're just kind of mixing in with your natural surroundings. Try to find a color that kind of fits in. We don't really need to be matchy-matchy. We don't need your decking to match your house, to match your door. You don't really need to go that direction. Think about it much like in doing the inside of your house. You do accent colors. You do your carpeting is one color, your wall is another. So you're okay to mix colors, and that actually helps bring it out and makes it look more natural and doesn't look as much like a synthetic product.
How about the touch and the feel? Because you're looking online, you get a little sample. It might be hard to discern between the different ones. This has a pretty deep grain pattern. Are they all pretty similar, or what about the touch and the feel of these? I mean, the Signature looks a little smoother to me, but is there a difference between the textures and the different lines?
They do. When you're into the Trex Basics up to the Transcends in their Tropics line, they do tend to have a little deeper texture. That was kind of where the market was leading at one point. They really were going for that real heavy texture. The last few years, we've seen a move as you look at the Lineage and the Signature line, that they've gone to more of a clean, smooth look.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, first generation Trex, really deep on the texture. Everybody's kind of trying to figure out the technology. How deep do we got to go? How deep do we need it to, so it wears well? But now we don't want it so deep that it collects so much dirt and you're trying to wash out the pores. So I think it's a good medium now between, slip coefficient thoughts and being able to clean the surface, but still have it look like a natural wood product. So
they've done a really nice job. They really have. And as the product themselves have improved and the technology that's gone into the coating on the outside of the deck, they've learned that they don't have to have a real deep texture to get traction, that they're able to add traction into the product itself now. So they're able to do the smoother textures, the more clean look that we're seeing today.
So you're saying that the cap stock, the outer shell, is a harder material than it used to be now?
Yeah, they've done a better job with that. They've done a better job with scratch resistance.
The fade resistance,
fade
right?
resistance, yeah. I mean, that's how they're putting the 50-year warranty actually is for fade and stain.
Yeah, and that's pretty big. I mean, I don't know about you, I ain't got 50 years left. So, I mean, my kids wouldn't have to worry about it, right? So 50 years is a pretty tough
I think the
thing
best
to
thing
beat
to
there.
think about, sometimes I have people say, well, I'm not going to be here. Same thing you just said. I'm not going to be here for 50 years. What do I care? I think the thing is that they're standing behind it that long. So even if you're only going to have it for 20 years, that you can install it today and it's essentially going to be exactly the same color in 20 years. That it's going to last far beyond what you need it to, and it's still going to look the same.
Yeah, because you're 49, how is my deck going to look, right? Like I can have confidence that you're 49, it's still looking good. So even if I'm not going to get all 50 years, halfway through the life cycle of a product, we want it to still look good. You're spending a lot of money on the deck, a lot of money on the labor. We want to make sure even halfway there that we're still looking good. Now, back to fastening, we talked about the different clips. They have a butt joint clip, and that's a question I hear a lot of the sales reps at AdvantageLimber.com trying to answer is, where do I use the butt clip? Why do I need to use that? What's the alternative? So we step over here. They have a little area at Trex University here with some different fasteners here. But on this butt joint clip, a lot of people don't know this thing even exists. It's kind of newish, I guess. But can you explain to us how you use that? Why you want to use that?
Well, as you can see here, we've got some spots where two boards are coming together in a joist. With their new clip, you can definitely put this together and only not have to have any screws. Before, we had to have a screw on each side. We had to have 4 screws to put this together because we didn't typically have room for a double clip. But now they've got a single clip that will do both sides.
So I guess if you have a double joist, you're stuck using the single clips. But if you have a single joist with the butt joint, then that's where you can actually use that thing, huh?
Yeah. That's where this really comes into play. You can see that it slides over the joist. It holds everything, proper gapping, sets itself in really well.
Okay. So you'd never want to use these on every one, but it's just you'd use the single clip when you get to a normal situation. But on the butt joint, you'd use this so that both clips fit on there. So Shawn, if you're putting the plug in, like you mentioned on the stairs, is something you want to plug everything. You don't want to use the hidden fasteners on the stairs so they don't rack. Can you show us how quick and easy putting the plug system into a piece of Trex is?
They've really come so far. They've made it really easy to do.
I hope they don't mind Shawn, the composite guy, zinging some screws in their display here, but go ahead, have at
it. It'll set the screw for you. It puts it all in line. They came out with this great way to line everything up. They put it all on a nice little fastener for you so you can actually turn and line up your grain before you ever put it down.
You don't have to whack your thumb anymore.
You don't have to whack your thumb. You just tap them in place.
Oh, that's pretty nice. That's boom, one and done. You don't have to sit there and pre-drill or nothing. So I might hire you to do my deck.
I think we can find somebody better.
Right? You're saying you're partially retired? Yeah.